Fort Brox Crypto Podcast. I'm your host, Neil Alonzo, with my co-host and co-founder of Fort Brox, Mr. Brandon Donheath.
Fort Brox Crypto Podcast coming at ya.
Oh my gosh.
I can make it longer next time.
If you want.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. So today, once again, it's the best episode. In my opinion, I'm a big fan. Right off the bat, it's about Nano.
Oh, love me some Nano.
I do. I'm a fan of Nano, okay?
Yeah.
And we're going to dive into exactly why. Ticker symbol XNO.
XNO.
Well, that changed. That updated in 2022. But before we dive right into this, we have to give some disclosures.
Yeah.
We are not financial advisors, wealth managers, lawyers, brokers, or CPAs. We're merely sharing our opinion and of our experience. So, but do not construe this as any investment advice whatsoever. We're not here to tell you what to buy, how to buy it. Well, we can tell you where you can get your crypto, but we're not telling you what to buy. This isn't investment advice.
Yet.
Ooh, I like that. Yet.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually. Okay.
Who knows? So, maybe when they relax the laws on that whole thing.
They're not relaxing shit. No, there needs to be regulation.
Yeah, for sure.
Regulation is going to be a big help and benefit to all this. So, Nano.
Yeah.
What is it? Right off the bat?
It's a crypto.
Well, thank you, doctor. Do you concur?
I concur.
I concur. It's, in my opinion, it's actually a digital currency.
Yes.
Not all things are digital currency that are crypto.
No.
And I'll explain what I mean by that. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is more of a store of value. Digital gold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do not believe people need to be spending Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If I buy a pizza in Bitcoin, I don't want to be that guy that my pizza actually ended up costing me hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because it can go up in value. I'm of the belief that Bitcoin will go up in value. It's not to say Nano won't. Mm-hmm. But Nano, the way that it's set up, it's meant to be used as digital currency. It's fast. Very fast.
Yeah.
Zero fees.
Yeah. And
it's eco-friendly. So in the world of the merge, as we just talked about, and when this show is dropping, it's going to be interesting to see what's happening with the merge for Ethereum. But Ethereum is also a crypto that I'm not a fan of using as a form of payment.
No.
In that way.
Most of them, no.
Most of them, no. I mean, because Ethereum NFTs make sense because it stores that value, in my opinion. But I would use Nano to buy that Ethereum NFT.
Yeah.
I would use, the reason why I have such an affinity for it, and to give it some context, is as we use Nano currently when we're mining, let's say, Ethereum. So we mine Ethereum, and then we convert it into Nano. And it's fast, and there's zero fees.
Yeah.
And so we send out and do our drops to our card partners who mine with us, and their Ethereum payout is in Nano, and they can turn around and exchange it for whatever they want, whatever coin they want. But it's so fast. Yeah. Every time you do the drops on Mondays, right? Every time that we do our drops on Monday nights, that just the moment it's out, it's like, I got it.
Yeah.
It's so rad.
It's mine now.
Yeah, it's mine.
Get your grubby hands off it. It's mine.
And to put that into perspective for those who are learning about crypto, right? Mm-hmm. If I pay you with my credit, debit, jet card, whatever, if I pay you with my Capital One card.
Yeah.
While that transaction takes a few moments to happen, swipe, tap, whatever the case may be, even Apple Pay, right? It happens, but the settlement of that money does not happen as fast as being approved for it. So when I tap my card or use Apple Pay in any form, it's just approving that transaction can happen.
Yeah.
But it's not settling it, which means that the recipient of that does not have that money in their wallet at that point in time, which is why chargebacks are such a bitch.
Yeah. So
have you ever had to deal with chargebacks?
No.
So when we were running events in Hollywood, we had a few people that wanted to throw an event, and one person got us. The legal on it is still out there, so we'll probably get our money back, but we had to take them to court.
Yeah.
So they had credit cards. They paid. They had everything that they needed. They paid by credit card. The event 2 weeks before the event happened, and then maybe a month later, we get a notice through our credit card provider processing system. I think it was WePay through FreshBooks, right? Mm-hmm. And it said that there's a dispute of the charge. I think it was around $6,000.
Holy wow.
And what happened was, okay, well, what are our rights in this? I have a signed contract by the person throwing the event. I have a picture of the credit card. I have all this stuff. Like, I'm proving to you this dispute resolution side of things. So, but what happens is they take the $6,000 from me out of the business account. They just take it. Like, they charge it to me. So let's say I wanted to be like, well, they can't access that shit. I'm going to move it over to this account. Well, then they're going to charge the bank, and bank's going to be like, you're overdrawn.
Yeah.
$6,000. You need to put $6,000 in there, or we're going to charge you your overdraft fees.
Yeah.
But here's the other shit part about it. They charge me for the chargeback, the credit card processing company. They charge me, I think it was $30, something like that. They suck. Put it that way. They suck.
Yeah.
And I have to go through this process of a dispute resolution. So I have to upload all these documents, cite that why I'm in the right on this. Okay, fine. It doesn't happen immediate.
Yeah.
There's a period of time. So from the time I initially dispute it to the time I get contact back, I think it took about a month. I got a month, and then I hear back from them. And mind you, their portal for use is okay, but it's not very good. A little clunky. And it feels like they don't give a shit. There's nothing human about the situation.
Yeah.
There's nobody you can talk to. If you try to call in for support, there's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a rabbit hole of shit.
Wow.
So my money's just out there, right? They've taken it away. They've charged me for the money that we earned, and we still can't have it. But now they say, oh, we've reviewed your dispute on our side, and we believe you're in the right. Great.
You're like, absolutely.
Here's your money back.
Minus
Awesome.
that $30.
Yeah, minus the charge. So they gave me my money back, my $6,000, right? But then they informed me the credit card company that was used, or the credit card that was used to pay for it, they haven't ruled on this yet either. But we have. So we've given it back to you basically in good faith that they're going to rule on it, that your charge is accurate.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this could take another 60, 90 days. Okay. Well, I think a couple of months after that, I get another notice saying, what? They're still disputing it. So I'm like, okay, well, what's my course of action? I just gave you all the evidence I had. And then fortunately, at the time, the person that through the event and everything, they communicated with us. I'll say this much. They communicated with us. So it wasn't outright fraud. It felt like.
Yeah.
But then something was amiss. There was some fraud happening. Okay. Because the person's credit card, supposedly who it was, couldn't get a hold of them, whatever the case may be. But the person who signed the contract and everything for the event, that was the person I could get a hold of. And they were under LLC that they had for their party business.
Yeah.
Well, long story short, this chargeback of them taking the money, giving it back to us, taking it, happened one more full cycle. So I got charged again. So now not only am I out,
you're out $60.
I'm out another. I'm out $60. And at the end of all this, they're like, this dispute resolution is final. They don't tell you what to do. They don't say this is what you can do now. They're just like, later, bye.
I'm taking
They don't give a fuck.
Your $6,060 and bouncing.
Yeah.
Is that what they did?
So the credit card that was used got the $6,000 back.
Yeah.
I'm sure they might have even received some charges. Who knows? I don't know. But I was out an extra $60. The business was out $60 from this event. So now I'm like, what is my recourse at this point?
Yeah.
I have this agreement. I know where this business is at. What can I do? I have to go file a small claims. Okay, cool. That's a whole process. That's time. Now, fortunately, I have the resources to go to the lawyer.
They have an iPhone app for that right now, by the way.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, it's an app that files like small claims, like small things. You just type in all the information, and then it creates the documents, and then you just print them out and send it.
Dude, show notes.
Yeah.
That'll be in show notes.
Okay.
I love that. Just for the sake of this conversation.
It's like some New York attorney was just like, oh, whatever, and then...
No, because small claims are a bitch.
Is it?
And when you're doing it, if you've never done it, it is daunting.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it right, they won't accept it.
Yeah.
So, because there is a lot of just random claims that people do. People sue people. I mean, we are a sue-happy culture.
Yeah.
So, having said that, I understand why that there's the barriers to entry in doing this, but my point of my story that I'm sharing is the whole time
None
that
of
we're
that would
using
have happened
with Nano.
if you just used Nano.
If I just use Nano.
Long story long.
Well, just so it was a little long, but it was therapeutic.
Yeah.
Because I honestly haven't talked to many people about it because
Yeah, what is
why?
that? Yeah.
Why would you talk about chargebacks? But chargebacks are a big thing in
How's
business.
the small claims going then?
We'll see.
Oh, okay.
I
You're still
know I'm gonna
in
win.
this?
Yeah, I'm still in this.
Holy jeez.
This happened in 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, the pandemic really put everything back in the court system.
Yeah.
Because people were out there fucking each other left and right during the pandemic anyway.
Yeah.
On so many levels. I could really dive into that.
Yeah.
But getting back to why I told the story, the genesis of this story is because this shit would not have happened with Nano. This would not have happened with Nano. Because I wouldn't have been charged the $60, the 30 and 30, because it's zero fees.
Yep.
And it's instant.
Yeah.
So the
And they
2
can't
weeks.
take it out of your account
No.
afterwards.
No.
Yeah.
It's mine.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing with Nano. Okay, so I can hold a non-custodial wallet. They have, what is it, Natrium and Null. Those,
Yeah.
I think Natrium's the one that's native on iOS, and then Null's a web-based one.
Yeah.
And big fans of those two. I mean, obviously you can put them on.
No, it's not web based. It's an app.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So having said that, you can put them on certain
And it's
exchanges have Nano.
beautiful.
Obviously, like Binance, they
Yeah.
have Nano, and others have it as well. But anyways, that right there just sold me on Nano.
Yeah.
I mean, those two reasons right there, I was a big fan of.
Yeah.
Simply because of the functionality behind how we're converting our Ethereum to Nano to pay out our card partners. It's super fast, no fees. And again, as somebody who's been hit hard by Ethereum gas fees, I should say, have been hit hard by Ethereum gas fees. This was a blessing. And then in the situation of how the old world way of doing business can immediately be eradicated, this is that also example.
Yeah.
Very personal stories to me on so many levels, because the work that we do, it shouldn't be taken away by these intermediaries.
No.
And Nano removes a lot of intermediaries, right? Because if you think about banking too, the way that this can work is so much more efficient. So they have the Lightning Network, right, for Bitcoin, and it works awesome, and it's super low fees. And I love everything about the Lightning Network, but it doesn't do what Nano can do. So in a lot of cases, and
There's still fees.
There's still fees. There's still fees. It's fast, thank you. But Lightning Network has other utility too involved, which I'm also a big fan of, and a lot of people are integrating with it. But Nano is something that I wish I'd see more integration by certain payouts, and I believe that there is more happening, more adoption in that way. I think they're all-time high. So let's dive into their tokenomics a little bit. So take us through that. We're on CoinMarketCap.
Tokenomics. Tokenomics.
Really?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just went to Monster Jam with my lady.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I'm in the Monster Jam mode.
So take us through some of their tokenomics.
Will do. So let's see. They have a total market cap of 119 million right now, which is a good amount. They've got a pretty good volume. They do have a max supply of 133 million total tokens available. 133 to 148,297, and total supply of that many. So like they're not creating any more after this unless they come to some sort of consensus. But like 133 million is actually on the low side.
Yeah.
It's looks real good, because if you look at like how many Ethereum there are.
Okay.
So you look at Ethereum and there's 122 million available.
Yeah.
And those are worth 1,532 a piece. So if you look at it as like from that lens, like there's not a lot of them. There's the max supply is capped at that same amount. You're looking at a token that has the potential to be worth a lot more money. It's just like, how do they raise the value or perceived value of their token, and that's up to them. So
Yeah,
I see a good like future for their price.
So in step with that, right? And
yeah, 1 second. You wanted to talk about historical data, like all-time high?
That's where I was going with this.
Gotcha.
So I see the all-time high is 37.62.
37?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. 37.62 then.
So 37.62. So here's the point I was going to make.
And that's a pretty, I don't know why that went from on like a month earlier from 17 cents all the way up to 37, but I don't know. But it coincided with the 2017 crash or 18.
Yeah. So in step with that, we have Nano, right? So we have some holdings of Nano in full disclosure.
Yeah.
And our card partners, they use it and they can switch it to any type of coin that they want, cryptocurrency that they want. And we're mining Ethereum with it right now, right? And obviously the merge, the time of this airing is It's happening.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that fleshes out. But my point that I wanted to make regarding the value on this is that let's say Nano has its day in the sun again and goes back to its all-time high of 37 plus, right? That spread between what it's currently trading at, the time of this airing, it's going to be different because the time of recording is August 29th.
Yeah.
But we're looking at about 89 cents today.
Yep.
And so to go from 89 cents to $37.
Yeah. That's a 37x right there.
That's huge. So in order for Ethereum, like if people were switching their Nano to Ethereum, let's say, Ethereum right now, it's at 1532 today as of right now. I mean, that could change. But its all-time high of November 16th, 2021 was $4,891.70.
That's 2x.
So you see where my mind's going with this.
Oh, yeah.
For Nano to go back to what its all-time high was, where it's already been, and for that to match Ethereum's going to have to go through the moon to where it's never been to have that same rate of return.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is not investment advice.
No.
This is just us making observations.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things I feel like if you're getting into crypto for the first time, these are details that not everybody pays attention to. Because if something goes from behind a penny to $2, that margin, that ratio could be more substantial than Bitcoin making huge gains, going from 20 grand to 60 grand.
Yeah.
The marginal ratio is completely different.
Yeah.
But most people don't look at it that way.
Yeah. But I mean, in order for it to get there, you have to have a couple of key factors: utility, usage, and a strong community backing it. So we've talked about that before.
Yeah, on other podcasts as it relates to coins.
The cool part is Nano has all those things.
I'm of the belief they do as well.
Yeah. If you look at their 2021 highest, which was 11, I think you're seeing a more accurate price for what it can go to and what it could. But still an 11x is...
That's massive. 11x. Ethereum has to go to where it's never been.
Yeah.
And it isn't to say Ethereum can't.
Yeah.
I believe it has the potential to, especially with adoption that it's had.
Yeah.
I also believe Bitcoin can go 11x still.
Yeah, I mean, it did a 23, right? From 2017 up to its highest.
So to those points, and again, we're in that time.
Yeah.
Where we're in this crazy bear market, and I believe we're going to have our day in the sun again.
Yeah.
But it's highly volatile. But getting back to Nano, as it relates to this, again, I have to stress this isn't investment advice.
No.
But knowing what you can buy in today versus what it can be tomorrow, you have to pay attention to the margins. Mm-hmm. But like anything else, those margins come with inherent risk. And so volatility of risk can be something you have to take into consideration too, because can Ethereum get to a certain amount of margin that would match Nano's margin on those same principles of getting back to its all-time high of $37 versus Ethereum going to where it would have to go to where it's never been in order to receive that same margin? It's different. It is. You're looking at two completely different verticals because they have completely different value propositions, to your point.
Correct.
But again, to reiterate, we are also of the belief that in order for Nano to increase in value, it has the components that you would want to see in a coin to go up.
The only thing that I would say about that is like large adoption, because they are putting themselves out there, and even on their website they say, I use Nano to send money abroad, I use Nano to donate to charity. So they are positioning themselves to be a payment platform or a token in that, an actual, what do you call that, money, like
an actual money.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny, we talk about crypto.
So they're positioning themselves, but in order for them to get there, I think you need a lot more adoption.
Yes.
And what we discussed, I'm so excited talking about Nano. What we've discussed before was like how do people get there? Because like you some downsides to it is that there's zero fees. I mean, it's an upside and it's a downside. It's both for us because we mine.
Yep.
With zero fees comes zero ability to like stake it for money.
That is a negative, yes. From our point of view, yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's two sides. Like, I love zero fees just on that other fact of, like, it doesn't cost anything to send.
Yeah.
So it's a positive and a negative, but from the adoption standpoint, I remember we were talking about it. You're like, why isn't it? And I was like, because of this zero fee thing, there's no incentive for people to mine it or to stake it.
You can't stake it.
Yeah, there's no staking. You can set up a node.
Yeah.
And that's just good for the overall ecosystem. Here's where I'm trying to get to, though, is you said something interesting about it. You said right now we're in the like 80s banking phase or 90s banking phase where like everything you did used to cost money. Setting up a checking account used to cost money. Setting up a new account or whatever, and they just charge you and charge you and charge you. And now they're trying to reel you in with zero fees. They're like, we're not going to charge you for that. We're not going to charge you for that.
Ally Bank's done a great job of removing so many fees.
So many fees. So that is like, they will see their day in the sun again, because when people want to go to these like eco-friendly and low-fee payment systems, they're going to choose Nano. They're going to choose...
It's definitely a viable option.
Right? And...
here's my case for the nodes.
Yeah.
And Ethereum also has this same issue now.
Yeah.
You can create a node in Ethereum, and you're not incentivized to do so.
Yeah.
You're not paid for creating a node. Being a validator, staking, is completely different than a node.
Yeah.
We made that distinction. We were talking about it on the merge episode. But creating a node on, say, something like Nano or even Ethereum, to your point, it does help the system.
Mm-hmm.
And you could be thinking, well, if I'm not incentivized, why would I help the system? Well, if you're a developer on Ethereum, you want to help the system because your product is on there.
Yeah.
If we were developing a project for Ethereum, right, let's bring it to Nano. If we're developing a project that's Nano, that has a huge component of Nano for an exchange of currency,
yeah,
we would want to support that. We would want to devote a good chunk of resources to developing these or launching these nodes to support our infrastructure.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure our shit's taken care of. An example of that, and one that they're definitely pushing towards, and we've seen more chatter about it, is gaming.
Yep.
There's a lot of play to earn, and paying out in Nano makes sense.
Yeah, especially in play to earn.
Especially in play to earn.
Because you're going to have such tiny little chips. You're like, oh, here's like 0.001 Nano, 0.0.
And nobody wants to wait to hit a tipping point, right?
No.
So, for instance, when we mine...
yeah. You're like, I'm going to pull out my 25%.
You can't. You have to wait till you hit a certain amount that you can pull out. Mining Ethereum right now...
well, we mine and then convert. But yeah, you have to hit a X amount of Ethereum in a day or a week in order to be able to get your payout.
Yeah. So in play to earn, you don't want, to your point, I want my 25 cents.
Yeah.
Give me my 25 cents.
I just earned $1 playing a
Could you imagine
game?
a 25 cent gas fee on Ethereum? There is no such thing.
Yeah, you couldn't send it.
You couldn't send 25 cents.
No.
And that's the thing. Again, with a lot of crypto that is become popular, it's, in my opinion, you don't want to use it for actual exchange, actual currency. Nano is doing these things in a way, and they talk about it on their website, merchant solutions. I mean, in the personal experience that I've had with just chargebacks, and I'm not the only one. Any business owner that deals in any type of situation, especially retail is huge chargeback.
Yeah.
Especially, that was one of the bigger things in the online space in the early days, was chargebacks of fraud. PayPal was there to try to
They still do that. And there's still a lot of like random chargebacks, and like you send me something in eBay, or like you buy
eBay,
something, like it's so rife with fraud right now.
Yeah.
Sorry to throw FUD eBay. I'm not.
Yeah, he's not throwing FUD.
But I remember we actually, like, we were selling some computer opponents in 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we have something that like we sent to somebody, and then they were like, "Oh no, that's broken." And I was like, "Okay, well, send it back." They're like, "I don't want to send it back." We're like, "What are you talking about? Like, you either get it or you don't." Like,
yeah.
And then like, because they can just like recall their money, be like, "Oh, it's broken," and then it was just like super shady. And I'm like, "Is this happening all over?" And I have heard of instances where that happens. Like, you send something, this perfectly good working part, I tested myself.
Yeah.
And then
I do.
it was a PCIe Express. Well, that's what the E stands for. But it was a card. And they were like, "Oh, this doesn't work." I'm like, "It works. I know." I tested it right before it went out. Anyway.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
So, to the point, it needs to be driven home, the idea behind transactionless fees, because again, to what you had talked about earlier, it takes time to see it stay in the sun, because people don't see the inherent value if they're not incentivized. They don't realize the incentive is not paying fees.
Yeah.
I don't understand why we have substantially as a culture, when you look at those services such as Truebill, right? I think that's what it's called. It shows you you just don't pay attention anymore if you subscribe to Netflix and Hulu, Amazon, like you have all these different subscriptions because you just want your content. You just want your gratification.
Yeah.
You tend to forget how much that shit adds up.
Yeah.
And if you are all of a sudden economically challenged and you want to look at that budget, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm spending $150 on all these content subscriptions that I have. That's more than DirecTV was."
Yeah.
Or the same amount. Sure, you can cancel them right away, but a lot of times people just don't, because they have a life that they're living, right? You fail to see how much money you're losing in that. I'm sure if a lot of people, especially in LA, which is where we're based, if they knew how much they were spending on coffee, would they stop? Or maybe at least just buy that shit and make it at home. Maybe if they really want, you can get a to-go cup. I know we're trying to promote sustainability and eco-friendliness, but if you at least have a to-go cup, you're going to save money walking around with your to-go cup to your favorite coffee spot without having to pay for it there, because that shit adds up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a huge Intelligentsia fan.
Yeah.
But it's expensive.
It is.
It's extremely expensive. So having that every day, where I'm going with this as far as the transaction, that's where the value is, because let's say you're a charity, right? Charity's a big one. You're 501(c)(3). You don't want to have to lose out on money that's being donated to you because of fees. So much of the case, when we send out invoices for our GPUs, we have to pad in the merchant processing fees.
Yeah.
And in some ways, or some businesses, I believe it's illegal to add to. So let's say you send an invoice for $100. If you send an invoice for $100, it's supposed to have everything packed into that. And then the seller has to absorb whatever that fee is. So if you're using things like Stripe or Square, they're going to take their cut. And they are solving a real problem, but I'm tired of giving up 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction, let's say.
Yeah.
Because that's my money. I earn that money.
Yeah.
I understand that your service is an exchange of value by providing the ability to accept a credit card, but I don't even subscribe to the idea that I like credit cards. But credit cards came out and they allowed people to have money without having to carry cash on them. You know what I mean? But again, you're creating all these intermediaries as solutions that they need to make money to exist, but they're taking more of what it is that we're creating, and we're still taxed on all this shit.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I love about crypto as a whole is it's supposed to remove a lot of intermediaries.
Yeah.
Nano's doing that. It's allowing us to remove a lot of intermediaries because of that. And to your point, that's where the value resides.
Yeah.
And in charities are another example, right? because like we talked about video games. But even while we're talking about it, the banking infrastructure can now be changed because of things such as Nano.
Yeah.
The Lightning Network for Bitcoin per se, it allows people to send it without having to send Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. That people would, I want to send you my Bitcoin, but I'm not going to use Bitcoin to send it. I'm going to use the Lightning Network.
Yeah.
It's
which
like
it like wraps it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the shortest way to explain it is that it's almost holding it in escrow, the fastest escrow ever.
Got it.
Because
okay.
again, that too settles fast. Not as fast as Nano, but it settles fast.
Gotcha.
And I'm not at least championing the use of Nano for any other reason than it's just been really good to us.
Yeah, for sure.
What I mean? Like, we're not being paid to endorse it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I am kind of being incentivized to talk about it because I don't have to pay those gas fees, those transaction fees.
Yeah.
Our card partners receive more of what it is that they mine because of those transaction fees being reduced.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's my biggest fan piece of it. And it seems like such a one-hit topic, but it's not, because the way that reducing fees, it reverberates in so many ways.
Yeah.
And you see the utility of that in how you can build infrastructure around it. Because if you don't have to adhere to certain fees, if you're creating a model such as a play-to-earn video game, you as a video game get to focus more on how you're going to monetize in other ways, because now you don't feel like you're losing money to cover this.
Yeah.
Because anytime that you, not anytime, but in most cases, if you have to cover a fee, let's say something like Stripe's merchant processing, but they're not the only one. They're just one of the biggest. Mm-hmm. They've done an awesome job. I'm a fan of Stripe. But to cover that fee, do you raise your price to cover that fee? Because again, if you ever use something, invoicing software, there's no check mark box that says include the merchant processing fee. I believe there might be some, but in some cases it's not legal just to do that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? To pass along that cost directly that way. So if you have a $100 invoice, it's supposed to tack on how much that is.
On top of that.
On top of that. But if you tack on 2.9% plus 30% transaction fee, Stripe doesn't separate that fee in their transaction. They just see $102.09, let's say. Or 90 cents, whatever it ends up being. And then it adds to the bill 2.9% plus 30 cents. So you got to factor in that little piece. So you're always still losing money against that.
Oh.
Again, you're thinking to yourself, this is what Nano absolves.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're not, and their whole thing is with being eco-friendly. So they're not mining, printing, or minting, any of it. So it makes it more sustainable.
Yeah. Can we talk about the DDoS attack recently?
Well, we experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm kind of conflicted in that one a little bit on a number of levels. They addressed it.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have been more transparent on Twitter faster.
Yeah.
As far as when it was going down, there wasn't enough said in the beginning. And the reason why we cared is because we weren't able to send out any of our drops to our card partners.
Yeah.
We conveyed it. We let everybody know on our card partner side that, hey, we can't send out drops because of the attack that happened with Nano. And this wasn't their first attack, but
I was on vacation.
Oh, that's right. You were at the time.
And this happened like right at the Terra Luna.
Oh, yeah.
Dump.
The timing of it was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It was just like, what is happening right now? So that I was a little more worried about it than I was less worried about it than I say you were.
What makes you say that? I'm not
Just
saying it's not true. I'm just curious.
Well, just the way we were talking about it, I was like, let's just give it another couple days.
Oh, that's true.
Before we change off of mining to that, and then.
Oh yeah, because we were even looking at using the Lightning Network at that point too.
Yes, we were.
That's right, because we wanted to convert.
Yep.
We were exploring as many options as possible because we want to deliver to our customers.
Yep.
So we were caught
the
in
best possible experience.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And we were nervous. Yeah, because where's our stuff going to go? Is it held up?
Yep.
Because we had stuff mid-send stop.
Yeah.
And so I'll give you a specific example too. And this isn't a dig on Trust Wallet. It's just the reality. We had sent Nano to people with Trust Wallet. It wasn't showing up. Fast forward to when this whole DDoS attack was resolved for the moment.
Yeah.
I want to say it was a week, almost 2 weeks.
They held it
2
up
weeks.
even further?
They held it up even further.
Wow.
And Binance, we were able to send to Binance Nano, and it was all working like clockwork again.
Yeah.
It was still pending in Trust Wallet. And so we had to do our due diligence and find out why. And there's a lot of things that could have attributed to it. But at the end of the day, it seemed like the patch that needed to happen on the wallet side, which Binance took care of on their end faster, allowed the transaction for Nano to be received, because we were sending for a couple weeks in Binance our Nano and receiving it right away, then on Trust Wallet.
Yeah.
It was still showing up as pending. It showed up, but it was just showing up as pending, and it wasn't being dumped into there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why? Why would you not stay on top of that? Because again, the wallets don't automatically update if something like Nano updates on their end. Not Nano's fault. No, it's not Nano's fault. But it is collateral damage. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because the experience to the end user, you don't really go searching for the actual reason why something's happening.
Yeah.
Something that when I always think of this lady, Catherine Hardwick, she's a director. She did Lords of Dogtown, Twilight. She told me something that just resonated with me one time. She's like, the first lie is the one they believe.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, as a consumer, you're more inclined to hear for the first reason as to why something happens, because again, you have your own life that you're functioning through.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to go and do as much due diligence just because life is taking priority.
Yeah.
You're just pissed that you can't get your money. So in something like that nature, it's a problem. You know what I mean? And that was the experience that we had. And yeah, it's interesting. And it's a problem because then people will say, well, if I paid with my credit card, that wouldn't happen. And it's like, well, we have other problems.
Yeah, with credit cards?
With credit cards and just credit in general. Because so credit card companies, they definitely have an issue as well. The Equifax data breach in 2017, right? Private records of 147.9 million Americans and 15.2 million British citizens, about 19,000 Canadian citizens. Wow. Remember that? I remember that.
Yeah.
These are the companies that are supposed to be securing everything. And especially with your credit reports, they're supposed to be providing the reports, but they're getting hacked that way. Not cool. There's the accountability in this factor is I'm not a big fan of the lack of it, I should say.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, there's going to be issues no matter what path we go down. But at least we're not being charged for it.
Yeah.
Whereas with our credit card companies, we're going to be charged. Yeah. I mean, they have absorbent rates. Sure, they provide money when supposedly, quote unquote, we want to buy something. We don't necessarily need it. There is no need versus want metric when it comes to buying anything, which is unfortunate. But that's a whole nother discussion for another topic. In the case of Nano, though, yeah, that was a real problem. But it hasn't happened that often. But when it happens, the shit hits the fan, right? Because during that time that issue was happening, what if you were trying to buy a home, right? In the case of something like escrow, it takes time to get through escrow. One of the biggest benefits of something like Nano is that it's settled right away. So if it reverts to the old world way of doing things, even if it takes the same amount of time to settle as what a credit card did, it's still going to give it a black eye in that moment. Mm-hmm. I will say this much about our society. It seems like time works its magic rather quick, that things are forgotten at a certain point. But in the moment of it happening, it's chaos. I mean, look at the PNC takeover of BBVA Bank. There's been a substantial number of issues with that. I, unfortunately, was part of that situation. BBVA, they let us know, hey, we're being acquired by PNC, whatever the case may be. I don't care. I have businesses banking with BBVA. I said, okay, what do I need to do to get ahead of this? Mm-hmm. Is there anything you need from me? Because we had a ton of stuff set up through our online portal to do ACH transactions, wires, to pay people. Again, something that Nano can do right away. An automatic clearinghouse is one of the best ways that we like sending things out because it's more immediate. But most times it takes 3 business days. It should be immediate, but they want to charge you for that. I get it. They want to make money. It's the way they make money. Banks, I'm not the biggest fan of banks, but anyways. So I'm proactive with BBVA saying, what do I need to sign? What do I need to do so that when everything switches over to PNC, the vendors that we pay out monthly, we're going to be fine. Oh, no, not a problem. You took care of it. Everything's set up for your businesses. Great. PNC switches finally. Well, when it switches, I log into my online account and it's like, no, you can't log in because your credentials are no longer valid. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? We talked about this. I physically spoke with people in the branch that I had known for a while, for a few years, banking with them, great people. Called online tech service, like everything for it. Did everything I could to be proactive with it because we're talking about money, our investor, like so many things are on take. Yeah. Well, when PNC came in, man, they fucked it. They screwed everything up.
Wow.
Couldn't log in. And then I was on hold for 6 hours the first time. And it was a clusterfuck to finally get into the online portal. So I finally get in the online portal. And this was after
none of your stuff saved.
None of the ACH contact book, none of the ACH setup was there. And then I have to fill out a form at the bank to allow that to even happen. Like there was just so much bullshit. And you're talking about weeks are going by.
Yeah.
So during that time, I have to communicate to all our investors who get their payments on the 10th of every month, like this shit's happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are they creating this?
Their problem becomes your problem.
I can't charge the bank for fucking up my world.
Yeah.
But they can do chargebacks on me and the credit card merchant. But I mean, like there's no accountability there. Yeah. They fucked up my world for 2 weeks. That ended up lasting another 6 weeks.
Wow.
Because I had to find an alternative for our ACH. So we found one of the best solutions was Corpay. They have a product that allows you to send out ACHs for free, but it is a lead generation engine for their credit card, which, hey man, fine. I'll use your free service. It's a little clunky in some ways.
Yeah.
It's just not super. There's a little latency with navigation around their UI. Pretty UI though. Ultimately, ended up finding, and this was about the time we were setting up the Fort Brox account, and no bank would bank with us because we were a crypto mining company. Yeah. Which is interesting because crypto mining is a little different than being an exchange. Anyways, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. Wait till we're in exchange. What's that?
We don't need to be an exchange ever.
Yeah.
But having said that,
you say that now.
You're funny. So when that happened, we found Mercury Bank.
Yeah.
And again, they're not paying us, although we do have a referral link that'll probably be in our show notes.
Yeah. But Mercury.
But sending ACH and wires through Mercury is the way it should be done. So even BBVA wasn't doing it as well as the way it is being done with Mercury. Corpay is doing it as close to Mercury, but there is latency issues with their just their online portal. But again, it's free. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. But I had to discover that. But it takes time. It is a long time. The moment I hit send approve after everything, I'm looking at about 7 business days, sometimes longer, for it to be settled on the other side. Mm-hmm. Why am I sharing this personal story as well? Again, this would not happen with Nano. Mm-hmm. Because why does the bank need to hold my money anyway in today's day and age? They don't. There doesn't need to be a bank that
they
holds
know
our money.
that I have that money. They know I want to give that money over to that person. Like, let it happen. I guess the only like counter argument to your point is if there is a case of fraud that somebody can't just clear out your
it's true
your bank
you need
account.
help.
So that's the only counterpoint I would say to that situation. You have somebody on the other end like, hey dude,
well, there's somebody pros and cons.
Yeah, to like settling transactions quickly.
So that's one thing. So I'll agree with that. I get real pissed real quick when we have our card on file somewhere. Let's say it's Home Depot, because in our real estate business, and the team's out there trying to buy supplies to go and finish a home.
Yeah.
I would venture to say, because we do a lot of business through there, that once every 2 weeks I get a hold.
Yeah.
And I get the phone call.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, we can't charge a credit card, saying declined.
Yeah.
Got to call up the bank. Oh, we put a security hold.
Yeah.
Yes, it pisses me off, but I'd much rather that than being stolen from.
For sure.
But that's a hard thing to put in perspective for anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not just me. Because at that time, you're like, depending upon where you're at in your day, you're pissed off.
Yeah.
So figuring out ways more of that can't happen. You know what I mean?
I think I've been watching too much of that new Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, I haven't watched any. Why?
Because you said what we do, and I was like, do.
You're such a child.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Earlier, you brought up the exchanges that it was currently on. Right now, it's Binance US, Kraken, Gate.io, KuCoin, Huobi. Never heard of that one.
Hobie, yeah.
Hobie, you have?
Yeah.
It's not pronounced Huobi.
No, it's pronounced Hobie. We actually, on the Crypto Vibes podcast episode, I talked about the actual pronunciation of it. If you Google it, there's a whole little quick little video.
OKX, Bitvavo, and then a couple others, but no Coinbase. So what's up? Coinbase.
I don't know, man.
Why aren't you guys trying to pump that one and then what? What?
No, it's definitely rough right now for Coinbase as it relates to that and the insider trading case. But to your point, and I know it's a little bit of a tangent, is that the Coinbase, they're arguing that because it's not a security, it shouldn't be treated as such, which is exactly what you said on, I forget which podcast episode. You said that's what their legal team would argue. And I said, you're probably right.
Yeah.
And you were.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. So that is it for this Let's Talk About Nano episode, unless you have more to add, Brandon.
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
Just Nano's dope.
Yeah. I love
that's the takeaway.
It's almost like their value proposition's too simple.
Yeah.
It's like they need a more complex one.
Yeah.
Having said that, thank you again for listening. If you found value in what we are doing, share it with others. Who doesn't like to share value? We will have links to everything we talked about and all the different reference points in our show notes. You can find those at cryptopodcast.xyz. I am your host, Neil Alonzo, with my co-host, Brandon Don Heath again.
What's up?
And we are founders of Fort Brox, a crypto mining company. This particular podcast studio has been brought to you by ADU West Coast. They serve
underutilized backyard spaces
into rental housing units. You can find out more information on aduwestcoast.com. We'd like to thank the Celebrators for that great song as the intro and outro of our podcast. I love that thing, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
They did it. They made it custom for us.
Yeah.
They're dope. And so
I would like to celebrate the Celebrators.
This show is produced by Vocal Visual and Wizard Cats, and we look forward to seeing you again on a future podcast.
Meow.